And courage came about with my first psychologist, who was in the Air Force when I was still active duty. And I was already diagnosed with severe PTSD, and I was taking a lot of medications. And I didn't really like the idea of the interactions and side effects of the meds. So it was becoming a little popular about veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder having a psychiatric dog. And so she proposed that to me. I gave it some thought. It took me almost a year to take her up on the prescription, because I am allergic to dogs. So that wasn't going to work too well if I was going to take medications and add Zyrtec to it. The main problem that I have with PTSD is that I do have triggers, but I don't know when the triggers will occur. And what occurs with me is that I'll have a panic attack, which can in turn turn into a flashback. So to avoid that, when I do have a panic attack, I have him with me. So I concentrate and focus on him. He pretty much knows when I'm uncomfortable or something's wrong, and he will, purposefully come up to me and lick my hand to kind of to basically keep me grounded. Since I've had him for 3 years, I've only had one flashback, because he's that effective during the panic attack to keep me, focused on him and not get to that extent.
Right.
My name is Joe Brazel, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I had the intentions of going there and picking out this massive Great Dane that has its ears docked, and it was going to like resemble this, soldier embodiment. But that's not how the process works at all. It went there. The lady had maybe 4 or 5 dogs ready. Spent a little bit of time interacting with those dogs outside. See how the dog reacts to you. How do you react to the dog? We did a few drills, like walking, stopping, sitting. Walking away from the dog, and just seeing kind of what that relationship was like. And somehow Hope was the one that connected to me, was the dog that seemed to know what I needed, seemed to know how to just kind of be that silent partner for me. I had a chance to take her for the night to see how our relationship went. And once I woke up in the morning with a 140-pound dog in the bed, I said, yeah, it's us. Yeah. So we were a team ever since.
Courage wears a vest when he does work. Right now he's not, because we're at home. But the reason why he has one, now according to ADA, he's not required to have a vest, but I choose to, because that is his way of knowing that that's his uniform. When he gets the vest on, his demeanor completely changes, and he understands that it is work. When I take it off, he plays like any other normal dog. So that is the difference between being, working and being off.
There's a large array of things that me and Hope can do and have done. We don't operate as much nowadays as a tandem team, like everywhere I go, she goes, but that was the case for 3 years. For 3 years, I didn't go anywhere other than in my home without Hope. And that's to the bathroom, at the restaurant, to the buffet, to the cashier register, to the gas pump, in the elevator, on the escalator, on the airplane, on the airplane. So it's almost like it was taught to me as a living, breathing prosthetic, and so it's everywhere. And Hope's had the opportunity. I mean, Hope's probably got more flying miles than you have accumulated in your lifetime, as many times as she's been on a plane. But in the kayak, tandem kayak, she's in the front of that. Rock climbing, she's coming up the mountain with us. Hiking, swimming, on a surfboard. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're involved into, your service dog is involved into as well. And Hope's had all of those experiences, to include NASCAR, with all the people and all of the noise. And the more they do that, the better they get at that, the more that you get comfortable with it. And then it's almost kind of like a communication that happens between you and your dog in order to have a good time in those places, in order to move around in those places and feel connected.
Well, a service dog doesn't have to be military related at all. We have dogs that are for autism, cancer, seizures. You know, there's varied reasons why somebody would have an alert dog. But the therapy dog is different because therapy is not for an individual, it's for a populace. So that is why the therapy dog's not covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act, because therapy dogs are not trained for an individual person with a disability, whereas a service dog is. Like, he is trained for me, he alerts me, he calms me, and keeps me grounded. And dogs like him can do various other jobs, but that is the main difference. That is why the public needs to be very educated and understand that they can't just run up and start petting a dog that they do not know.
My name is Erica Henderson. I'm a senior here at Methodist. I do have an ESA dog. Her name is Sula. ESA stands for Emotional Support Animal. It can be anything from up to the weight of a small miniature pony. I chose a German Shepherd, which is kind of pushing it, but she is 12 years old and she is currently sick, but she does help. She helps with anxiety and all that other fun stuff. Now ESA is different from service animal, so we have different rules and regulations we have to follow, and also where we're allowed to go in and stuff like that is different than a service animal.
My name is Antonio McGriff. I'm Mary's husband. And as far as Courage goes, a lot of the challenges that Mary had with him, I didn't know about. I had no idea that she was having challenges or anything like that with him. And it wasn't until we went to Washington, D.C. for a soldier ride for the Wounded Warrior Project that I had to have him one day on my own. And as I was walking around town, I started to notice that people would do weird things. They would like walk up to him, they'd make weird noises, he'd turn around, he'd bark, they'd touch him, you know, as they're walking by him and all these types of things. But I had never experienced it, so it got very frustrating for me to deal with that. And after that day, I knew exactly what she was talking about when it came to people bothering a dog or interrupting him. Now, he wasn't doing anything service related with me, but I had his vest on simply so he could stay in practice. So people still should have respected the fact that he had the vest on, but they didn't.
It's up to the handler whether you pet or not. Service animals, the general rule is no petting. It should go for emotional supports too, and I kind of withhold that standing of no, don't really pet my dog. That's why I have a red collar, a red leash, a red everything. Red usually means stop, but for some reason nowadays red means go.
He's very good around the public. The only thing is he will bark if somebody makes a brash act, like move their hands or come forward or lunge at him. Then he will bark at them to let them know, basically stop. And what's nice about it is that when he does it, it's more acceptable to the public, whereas if I'm the one who says don't, then I look like the bad guy.